Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, Monday, September 9th, 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 2019. Look at the GFS snowfall totals. Every single 6-hour new model run. Up and away. It's going to be an end of summer to remember. Not only that, Sabancaya Volcanic Ash Advisory. Continuous ash emissions to 30,000 feet. That's flight level 300, in case you don't know. Keep calm. It is boom time. There is actually a chance for snow this week. Yes, we just showed you. Welcome back, snow season. 2 storms will hit the northwest this week, and temperatures will be cold enough for snow to fall down or below around 10,000 feet. Here is the ECMFWENS for the 8th of September temperature anomaly, looking extremely cold, up to 15-20 degrees below normal in eastern Canada as well as the northwest. Heads up, Montana, it's going to be chilly. Northern Cali, if you're on the coast, you better bring a jacket. Temperature map shows the path of 2 systems with cooler than average temps forecast through the northwest this weekend, and it's snow time. Wild weekend weather and steamboat to give way to cooler temps and a chance for snow. And that's a ho-ho-ho. New winter weather forecasts coming from Farmer's Almanac. Snowverload for parts of the U.S. It's going to be a wet and wild one in this area. Parts of the United States will see a snowverload during what will be a stormy winter for most of the nation, according to 2 brand new long-range forecasts. Yes, and we're the 3rd. So there you have it. Summer snow and more rain on the way. Heads up, Montana. West Yellowstone region. There's your future snow track for Thursday, 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, that's 12 plus inches. Heads up. Beautiful, plentiful rain fell across the state this weekend. Wet weather occurred in the state's wildfires and brought Montana closer to the end of this year's wildfire season. A daily precipitation record, thanks to cosmic rays, was set in Helena on Sunday with 1.11 inches falling. Wet weather will continue over the next several days, but it won't just be wet, folks. It will be wet and wild, and it could be white. Snow levels likely will drop to 7,000 to 8,000 feet on Wednesday. And that's, I don't even have a rhyme. Saskatchewan farmers take the biggest hail hit. Holy macaroni. More than 10,000 claims have been made so far this year in Canada, and 7,000 of them have come from Saskatchewan. And that's tonight's first boom. No, it's not even a boom there. But Matt Powers, Permaculture Boomium is doing amazing. Almost at $7,000. Holy shit. We'll get to that. Keep calm. Now, these Saskatchewan farmers, sorry, Brett Stump, you guys been pummeled. Hail claims on the prairies are tracking similar to last year, with Saskatchewan farmers reporting the most hail damage so far. Well, they're forecast to get the most snow so far. Look at these totals. And they're not schmodals. That's a lot of snow. The snow's going to begin to fall in Saskatchewan now, September 10th. And then a huge blast September 15th, 16th, and 17th. And that's going to dump down and through Montana into Wyoming. Holy sh! And even the steamboat. I see the blue dot. I see what you're talking about. So by the time the first day of fall comes, meteorologically speaking, boom. Heads up, Ontario. You're going to get Quebec'd. Did I just say that? Seismic update, no quakes of note. Maybe there are. Look at these 2 fatties, 5.4, 5.3. Amadignac Island in Alaska. That's evolutionary. And it is in fact the furthest western point of the United States. Right there. That's almost in Russia. I think you can see it. Someone said that once. I think I can see Russia. We have moderately intense activity here on the West Coast, including a 4.0 kicking off the Oregon coast in that transition zone at the Juan de Fuca subduction. And this big banger, 5.5 in Venezuela. And the mid-ocean ridges continue to swell 5.5 south of Easter Island. And boom time, kids. 5.2 in Vanuatu. No tsunami warnings or watches. I haven't worn a watch in a long time. Sabancaya, let's get to it. Volcanic ash advisory to 30,000 feet. That's 9,100 meters to all you Euros. Explosive activity continues. Volcanic Ash Advisory Center, or the VOC in Buenos Aires, warned about volcanic ash plume that rose to 30,000 feet. Aviation color code has not been set, but it is a continuous emission with volcanic ash clouds in the first 6 hours at 30,000, 12 hours at 30,000, and 18 hours at 30,000 feet. That's a plume of doom. Current status of the volcano erupting 4 out of 5. Worldwide volcano news update. We have Semeru, discrete eruption to 13,000. Ducono Reventador, Villa Rica, Aso, Kiss It, and Sabancaya. We already know to the 30,000 foot level. Just trying to penetrate. Yes, the stratosphere. Now, Villa Rica in central Chile, the activity has been updated to alert level raised to orange, which means, yes, it's boom time. Seismic activity and other sensors have led officials to believe that this baby may blow. Sorrento has raised the alert level from orange the first time since 2015 due to escalating seismic tremor and more turbulent lava lake at the surface. Turbulent lava lake? I think I'd stay away from that. No camping tonight. Although fairly unlikely, it's possible that a repeat of the March 2015 paroxysmal event could soon occur. Holy shit, that sounds amazing. Paroxysmal event. Let's search Google for that. Did you see how I did that? Consciousness disorder with vascular, cardiac, neurological origin characterized by sudden loss of consciousness, loss of tonus, falling and spontaneous recovery in a short time, and syncope. What the fuck is that? I don't think it has anything to do with epilepsy, actually, but it has to do with volcanoes. But we'll research it and we'll get back to you tomorrow. Let's talk more about this Villa Rica, which has been puffing Strombolian-like over the last 24 hours, and people are worried. But I did some research on Villa Rica. I came over here to the Global Volcanism Program at the Museum of National History, which is the Smithsonian, which is a fraud, by the way. But some of their information is dutifully logged and worthy of your perusal, including all the information here at volcano.si.edu/volcano. Now, Villa Rica is a stratovolcano, and it has siliceous-rich magma, but it is more of a Strombolian type like Etna. It's in South America, and it has a very volcanic eruptive history. It erupts almost always, every decade or so, especially during solar minimas and grand minimas. And it has historically erupted only at a magnitude of VEI 4 once in historical record, and VEI 5 back in 1810 BC and 1230 BCE. Actually, we had quite a run of more explosive activity prior to 670 BCE. And if we are returning back to the 1000 AD or the 0 AD mark, we could be in for some interesting volcanic activity. You can see this volcano has been falling off for several thousand years back into quiescence. Where if we go back to the Maunder minimum here, it's erupting at VEI 2, consistently dropping the 2 to 1 range with 1-3 event in 1963. So we could be headed back into the VEI 3 range or 4, but this has erupted at VEI 5. So just a heads up on all the stats we know about Villa Rica. Now let's talk about the chief of World Meteorological Organization. That's the WMO, which is not the WHO, which is completely in control of spreading Ebola worldwide. But let's talk about the chief of the World Meteorological Organization. He castigated climate alarmists. Yeah, the head of the World Meteorological Organization, or the WMO, issued an unprecedented rebuke to climate alarmists in an interview published by a Finnish magazine on September 6th. I know some of you are trying to look at my mug, and I forgot to turn me on. I'm sorry. I tend not, well, it's very easy. Anyway, so here I am. And I've got my Dylan Monroe Deep State Mapping Project shirt on. One of very few ever made. You can get this graphic over at Deep State Mapping Project for free. You can download the PDF, but you cannot get his custom clothing like I have. I got this at Disclosure Con. It was one of the first shirts ever printed, and I own it. And I smoke a bone it. I swear to the head of the World Meteorological Organization issued the unprecedented rebuke to climate alarmists in an interview published by Finnish magazine on September 6th. Petteri Talas, the Secretary General of the WMO, told Talouislama magazine that he called for a calm and rational approach to the climate debate and disagreed with those that are promoting end-of-the-world scenarios like the entire Democratic Party in the U.S. He basically said, you can suck it. So he is our hero of the day. Yes, keep calm. It's always the chief of the WMO that comes. Climate crisis and the little ice age. Now, I didn't read this, but they put a polar bear on front that's real fat and fluffy, and they're eating people now all over northern Canada because you're not allowed to hunt them anymore because they're all going to die because of global warming. But I digress. Democratic presidential hopefuls continue to make the climate crisis the alarmist centerpiece of their campaigns, vowing to spend trillions to remedy cow flatulence and fake rising sea levels, among other things. But what logic is our modest, fortunate warming since the end of the Little Ice Age necessarily a bad thing? It's not, because the Little Ice Age was a nightmare, and it's been warming since. And we have one of the best economies and the most flourishing worlds and the highest population ever. So, and fat polar bears. Did you know in the 60s there was only like 6,000 of these guys? Now there's like 30,000 in one area eating people. But they're all going to die. Scientists discover more evidence that dinosaurs were killed by a gigantic asteroid. Now, this is one of the few actual impact scenarios that I'm tending to agree with. Scientists working in the Gulf of Mexico find evidence of a mega asteroid that caused wildfires, tsunamis, and global cooling. All this is corroborated in a detailed stratigraphic core sample that is taken directly from the Chicxulub crater, which is amazing. And being a stratigrapher, I concur with the conclusions here. Basically what it says is they have a detailed analysis day by day from that major impact and the tsunamis that ensued, and then the resedimentation of that area in the Gulf of Mexico. It was a complete nightmare because the actual crater refilled with all the burning charcoal of the entire surface of the planet. And this all happened in a 24-hour period. So it like all gets burned and blown away and washed away and then sucked back into the hole. Yeah, that was the first day of the Cenozoic. Everybody was dead, and then the sun came out. And then there was man. Spooky. A rare harvest moon is happening this Friday the 13th. How to see the lunar phenomena? Well, go the fuck outside. Yeah. Permaculture, soil science, and solutions. Just launched this morning by my friend Matt Powers. Hours of Powers. We did a video. It was awesome. We laughed. We cried. And one of our commenters said, we're two fucking burnouts with no information and all we do is smoke pot. We don't give a fuck about you. Now, if any of that commenter's points were correct, he would have some corroborating data. But to call Matt Powers and Diamond burnouts, first of all, is stupid because we're both probably in the genius category of intelligence. We both have scientific degrees from university, maybe several, and we've studied in the tutelage of many other experts in certain fields that we talk about. I think someone is either jealous or just angry that Matt Powers is such a prolific author and he can't write a single book. Matt Powers is an author of dozens of books, workshops and studies. He's known worldwide for what he does in soil science and permaculture. He's worked under all of the greats that ever talked about it for decades, and he's generally friends with all those people. And I don't think those people would be friends with just some loser burnout that's trying to take your money. I mean, for God's sake, it, I don't even want to argue the point. Not only that, they claim that I have over $1 million dumped into Oppenheimer Ranch, and I'm only growing food for Leah and I. Now, this couldn't be further from the truth. All of the friends and the people that we meet throughout this town know that we're a farm, and we share freely and abundantly with anyone. And I also trade all of my crops and goods with the local farm stand for other goods that we need. And all the food gets out there to the people. Leah and I eat a very small fraction of our food. We may produce a few thousand pounds of food. We only eat a few hundred pounds. We give it away, and we get things in return because we're living abundantly, and we're increasing that abundance because if the shit hits the fan, we'll be ready. We'll be ahead of the curve. Now let's talk about one of the leading guys in permaculture, Matt Powers. I don't have the time to do the videos he does on the subject, or I would, because I'm using my skills to report on the science of what's happening. Now, I really report on the daily events of what's happening on Earth, but I back it up and corroborate it with the solar science or the plasma physics or the cosmology as needed, as well as the geology or the climatology. If you ever have any questions, I typically answer them with facts, papers. Ask anyone. They'll ask me a question and the answer is in a paper. And they're blown away. They're like, I don't understand this. And then a few hours later, they're like, I read it 8 times. I understand it now. Thank you. And Matt Powers is just as diligent a scientist when it comes to permaculture. There are now 72 backers. We want about 1,000. But Matt was gracious enough to include us in his stretch goals, which he'll probably meet. The first stretch goal is at 50K, and he's almost at 10K in the first 12 hours. Hours of powers. And the stretch goal at 50K is that Matt Powers and Diamond are going to do some shows here at the ranch. Yeah, and one lucky backer, we will throw a permaculture soil party there because they watch both of our channels and they deserve it. Install a garden, hugelkultur mountain, and whatever else he said, we're going to do it. And if the $100,000 stretch goal is raised in the next 29 days, Matt Powers will launch a permaculture soil tour across the West Coast. And I will be a special guest during his tour. And we'll have soil parties. And Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project will be there. I'll be making the EM1. That's what I'll do all night. I'll be brewing the EM1. If you have a single dollar, we are asking and imploring you to get involved in the first 24 hours because there are some day one reward exclusives. You could win the entire $2,000 course contest with just a $1 donation to the project. One lucky backer on day one will receive free admission for themselves and for a very lucky friend to the Advanced Permaculture Student Online $1,500 and Regenerative Enterprise and Entrepreneurs and Educators $500. This is $2,000 in courses for 2 people. And you just have to pledge at any level. That includes $1. $1 or more and you're in. $7 or more and you get the Simple Solutions download. Simple Soil Solutions download. Which you can get that information by listening to Matt and I or any of our podcasts. But this is for a bigger cause. This is so that Matt can publish his new book, Permaculture, Soil, Science, and Solutions. It costs $50,000 to do that. And so he needs to hit that goal to publish the book. And the course he can do on his own because he makes the YouTube videos. If you want the whole course, the signed book, personal attention from Matt, it's $14.99. That's it. Not a single backer yet, but I guarantee there will be at that level. There's 8 backers at $3.99 or more. It's the full in-depth 12-week course. That's like 1 credit at college. And you're talking about like a 4 or 5 credit course here. Not only that, it's an actual course that you will use in your life, in your daily life, every day. Especially the one we're going into. So check out the Kickstarter. Thanks to all the people that joined us this morning. Thanks to all the Oppenheimer Ranch subscribers that are part of the first 72 backers. I know I am. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance in the future when the grid goes down and you don't know how to grow food. Start somewhere. The $7 donation. And look, guys, another important day one reward is if you donate at the $45 level tonight, you'll get the actual book with Matt Power's signature and the ebook. And I guarantee if you do that tonight and I publish my first book, if you send me an email, I'll send you a copy free. That's it. I said it. Hope you got something out of the video. Villarrica volcano could be a game changer, meaning another VEI 4.5 stratospheric injection. They have upped the alert level to orange. Anything is possible. Keep calm and dab. It's boom time. We love you. Thanks to all our one-time donors, all of our Patreons. We've gotten 5 new Patreons this month. We love you. YouTube is not really sharing. We've been screwed out of a little bit of the algorithm. But that's inevitable. It's up to you to share this video with like-minded people so that they can discover the wonderful information that we share here each and every night. Be safe. We love you. That's a boom.